Hello, this is Ali Reda, MBA student in ESLSCA Egypt. Today, we would like to go for a summary for a recent paper on how does household spending respond to an epidemic. Paper subject is how does household spending respond to an epidemic, consumption during the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. This paper has been prepared by Scott Baker, R.A. Falconia, Stephen Mayer, Michael Begel, Konstantin Jensel from the National Bureau of Economic Research. Abstract. Researchers in such paper explore how household consumption responds to epidemics utilizing transactional level household financial data to investigate the impact of the COVID-19 virus. As the number of cases grew, households began to radically alter their typical spending across a number of major categories. Initially, spending increased sharply, particularly in retail, credit card spending, and food items. This was followed by a sharp decrease in overall spending. Households responded most strongly in states with shelter-in-place orders in place by March 29th. We explore heterogeneity across partition affiliation, demographics, and in income creator levels of social distancing are associated with drops in spending, particularly in restaurants and retail. Researchers in this paper would like to know how and where Americans spend their money during the pandemic. In this paper, which could be considered the first one to utilize transactional level household financial data to analyze the impact of COVID-19 outbreak on spending behavior of tens of thousands of Americans to answer the following questions. How households have adjusted their spending when they began to respond? What the characteristics are of the households who have responded the fastest and strongest? What is the relation between heterogeneity among partition affiliations and demographics? In this paper, we would like to know how the researchers have found their own sources of data in order to do the analytics on it. The first source of data was transactional data. This transactional data, the paper team analyzed e-identifying transactional level data from a non-profit fintech company. The non-profit fintech encouraged households to increase saving through targeted information and rewards. Users can use the platform to sign up for an account with the non-profit fintech and link their main bank account, including their checking, saving, and credit card accounts. The second source of data was the Gallup Daily Tracker data. Researchers estimate a linear probability model predicting whether a respondent identifies as a Republican using various commands to both datasets: country, income, gender, marital status, presence of children in the household, education, and age. Older people, men, married individuals, and individuals with children are more likely to be Republicans. Identifying as Republican is monotonically increasing in income bands. The relationship between education and partition affiliation is non-monotonic, with individuals without a high school diploma strongly leaning Democrat, and individuals with only a high school degree, a vocational degree, or an associate degree being most likely to identify as Republicans. The third source of data was the social distancing data. Unicast provides a daily updated social distance scoreboard. The scoreboard describes the daily changes in average mobility, measured by change in average distance traveled and the change in non-essential visits using data from tracking smartphones using their GPS signals. The fourth source of data is newspaper. Researchers gather counts of articles that discuss COVID-19 or several other related terms like corona or coronavirus across approximately 3,000 US newspapers at a daily level using the Access World News Bank service. They aggregate this data at a state level and look at the ratio of articles related to COVID-19 to the total number of newspaper articles in that state on a given date. Panel A displays the number of non-profit fintech users by 5-digit zip code in the US. Panel B shows the average annual self-reported income of users by 5-digit zip code in the US. The source is a non-profit fintech. The analysis and the graphical curve of the household grocery spending response, showing that all spending in comparison to grocery spending has a huge declining at the week of 10th of March 2020. The declining has gone and affect retail spending, restaurant, air travel, food delivery, public transit spending, and credit card spending as well. This graphic displays the fraction of newspaper articles in US newspapers that mentioned a term related to COVID-19. Data shown for selected states. Nationwide, over 3,000 newspapers are utilized. This slide showing a household spending response across categories by predicted partition chip. We can see difference between Republicans and Democrats and independents in the way of spending, showed by blue, gray, and red colors. This slide is showing the different age group income and spending within the different weeks before and after COVID-19. The conclusion of the study showed that the COVID-19 has badly affecting spending behavior across all USA states. Political beliefs and age group are both important parameters deciding the level of spending declining during the COVID-19 pandemic. Retails, restaurant, air travel are different business activities, but all have been badly affected by spending declining. The value of the first pandemic spending data will help decision makers to depend on the first time analysis to have more accurate expectation in similar situations in the future.